Hello everyone, dear friends. As promised, today we would like to return to the topic of prices for our racing cars that participate in the karting championship of the Republic of Kazakhstan. We'd like to make a note right away that will probably be indicating a range of these prices from the minimum for used cars that you can look for on the market to the maximum, which would be brand new cars imported not from neighboring countries but directly from the places where they are manufactured, namely from Italy. That's it. In this case, the kart, puff or microcar we mentioned, well, on average, its price range is probably somewhere from $1,000, which would get you an old used kart here, but one that's still perfectly fine, up to a new one, which would be about $2,000, $2,100, maybe $2,200, somewhere in that range. That's it. Just to give you an idea, so you have a sense of it. The mini class, as you remember, it's more advanced, more expensive, and accordingly faster. Here, the engines cost about 2,200 to 2,300 euros. The chassis costs around, let's say, 2,500 to 3,000 euros, so 5 to 5,500, depending also on what kind of tires are installed. Here, you also need to buy the chain and sprockets separately. Let's say it's 5 to 5,500 for a new one, and probably around 2,500 for a used one somewhere. That's how it is. So you can subtract about half the price, more or less, depending on the condition the machine is being sold in, whether it's been serviced, how well it's been maintained. Based on that, you can expect these kinds of prices. And of course, it also depends on the chassis manufacturer, that is, the engine manufacturer and the chassis manufacturer. All of that matters, especially on the secondary market. So, the OK Junior car is designed for youngsters from 12 to 15 years old. Here, it already has a large base chassis, which is suitable both for teenagers and for adults. That's why its price is much higher. So, the price for a brand new car from the OTK manufacturer is about 4,000 euros, probably, in Kazakhstan. And the engine costs around 3,000, yes. So overall, the car comes out to around 7,000 euros, give or take. But if you consider a used one, which is also very comfortable and convenient, you can probably get a ready-to-go car for about 3,500 to 4,000. But again, I'll repeat, this is the most expensive chassis manufacturer, OTK. They have 4 brands, Tony Kart, Expert, which we'll see later, Lando Norris and Cosmic. In this case, Tony Kart is the trendiest, most popular brand, yes. The Rotax Max class. Rotax Max is for adults from 15 years old and up. Here, if we're talking about a complete engine, it's about 3,000 euros. The chassis can be, for example, like this one for 2,500 to 2,800, or like this one for 4. Yes, there are differences in popularity, in demand, in the overall level of recognition, for example, one manufacturer compared to another. But the most affordable new chassis can be found for about, I don't know, probably around 2,500 to 3,000 euros. So the more expensive one is 4. The engine here, well, 3 to 4, the engine is 3. So from 6 to 7,000 for a new one, yes. We sometimes have used ones for 1,000,000 tenge, but there are also more expensive ones. And now the last one we have, the technical pinnacle, the top of karting is the KZ2 class. Here the chassis is even more expensive. Yes, it's the same manufacturer, OTK, but even more expensive since it's equipped with front brakes, a gear shift lever and a clutch. That's right. This chassis costs somewhere around 4,500, maybe up to 5,000 euros, just for the chassis alone. And the engine can also cost somewhere around 3,500 or even 4,000. So here, it's a complete machine. You have to buy the air filter separately, the radiator, water, so-called the pump, the chain, and also the tires. Altogether, as a complete set, it comes to about 8,000 to 10,000 euros. A used one typically costs around 4,000 to 5,000, so that's roughly the general price range. That's precisely how it breaks down. So in principle, it's all very much affordable, especially considering the immense amount of pure enjoyment you can genuinely get from these remarkable machines. All the very best and a fond goodbye.